You know, for millions of teens out there, a whole new kind of friend has shown up in their lives. This is a friend who's always there 24/7, never passes judgment, and, well, lives right on their phone. I'm talking about AI companions. But, as we're about to see, this seemingly perfect friendship, it can have a much, much darker side. So it really begs the question, are these companions a helpful friend or a harmful foe?
And in this quote from a teen on Reddit, man, it just cuts right to the chase. For so many, these AI chatbots feel like a sanctuary, a totally private space where you can vent, you can explore your thoughts, share your biggest secrets, all without that fear of judgment or betrayal you might get from people in the real world. And that is a really powerful draw. But that powerful connection can get, well, dangerously complicated. We're now seeing lawsuits filed against big companies like Character.AI and Google, with allegations that these chatbots actually encouraged self-harm, with absolutely tragic results. Look, this isn't some far-off theoretical risk. This is a devastating reality that has already brought grieving parents to testify before the U.S. Congress.
So what is it about these AI companions that's so magnetic in the first place? To really get a handle on the risk, we first have to understand the appeal. Why are teens forming such incredibly deep bonds with these digital friends? Well, a study from Drexel University dug into teen discussions on Reddit, and here's what they found. The AI is seen as this non-judgmental ear. It becomes a coping mechanism for all the stress of the real world, and for some, it's a way to fight off just profound loneliness. It can even act as a stand-in for actual mental health support, or, get this, a creative space for role-playing fantasies they just can't explore anywhere else. Okay, but what happens when that connection, that reliance goes a little too deep? When the coping mechanism becomes more of a crutch and that escape hatch starts to feel more like a cage? Let's unpack how this can spiral into a really harmful dependency. And what's fascinating here is that researchers actually have a name for this. It's called behavioral addiction. This isn't about some substance you take. It's about a pattern of behavior that becomes destructive. Let's walk through the 6 key parts because, honestly, they read like a playbook for what these teens are going through. All right, first step is salience. This is when the chatbot becomes the most important thing in a teen's life. It's the first thing they think about when they wake up, the last thing at night. Suddenly, real life feels like it's just getting in the way of their time with the AI. Next, number 2, mood modification. Feeling stressed or down or lonely, the chatbot is an instant fix. It gives us rush of comfort, this hit of validation, and it becomes the main way they manage their emotions. It basically starts doing the job that friends, family, or even hobbies are supposed to do. Then you've got tolerance, number 3, and it works just like a drug. That first dose, it stops having the same effect. So teens find themselves spending more and more hours chatting just to get that same feeling of comfort. We're talking screen times of over 80 hours a week. That is just wild. Number 4 is withdrawal. This is what happens when they can't get to the chatbot. Maybe the server's down or they get their phone taken away, and they feel this very real anxiety. They get irritable, they get sad. Some teens even say they feel guilty, almost like they've let down a real friend. And that brings us to number 5, conflict. This is where the digital world starts wrecking the real world. Schoolwork starts to slide, friendships get ignored, and old hobbies are just forgotten. Teens admit they're prioritizing their relationship with the AI over everything and everyone else, which just leads to more isolation. And last, number 6 is relapse. A lot of these teens, they know it's a problem. They try to stop. They'll delete the app. But that pull, it's just too strong, and they find themselves right back where they started, caught in the same cycle. So as you can imagine, this pattern of harm has not gone unnoticed, and the fallout, these devastating consequences, they've sparked a legal and regulatory firestorm that's totally shifting the conversation about who's to blame when things go this wrong. In this slide, it shows a really critical shift in thinking. For the longest time, tech companies could argue they were just a neutral platform, kind of like the phone company isn't responsible for what you say on a call. But now, courts and regulators are pushing a whole new idea. An AI chatbot isn't a utility, it's a product. And the people who make that product have a duty of care to protect their users from risks you can see coming. Now, this change didn't just happen out of the blue. It was really a domino effect. First, you had this huge public outcry when Snapchat's My AI started giving dangerous advice to kids.
Then came that absolutely gut-wrenching testimony from parents in Congress. That was followed by a massive shot across the bow from 44 state attorneys general. And the final piece? A Supreme Court ruling in the Paxton case that basically said yes, protecting minors online with things like age verification is constitutional. So what does this all add up to? It points to a brand new reality for AI companies. Safety by design isn't just some nice-to-have marketing phrase anymore. It's becoming a flat-out legal requirement. You can't just build the tech and cross your fingers. You have to anticipate and prevent harm right from the very beginning. Okay, so with all this new pressure, how are people responding? We're starting to see two main paths forward. On one side, you have the corporate quick fix, and on the other, a much deeper, more proactive way of thinking. Let's take a look at how these two very different paths are shaping up. So, on one hand, you've got the corporate response. Character.AI, for instance, introduced this parental insights feature. It's a weekly email that tells parents how much time their kid is on the app and who their favorite characters are. But here's the thing. Notice what you're not seeing. It doesn't show the actual conversations. It leaves this massive and potentially dangerous blind spot. But then, on the other hand, you have researchers from Drexel University who've come up with something way more foundational. It's a design philosophy called the CARE framework. And it's not about patching problems after the fact. It's about building the AI itself to be safer and more ethical from the ground up. Let's quickly walk through the four main ideas. First up, the C stands for comprehensive needs. This just means that designers have to finally admit that teens aren't just here for a quick game. They're looking for deep emotional connection, for support, sometimes even for a stand-in for a parent. The design has to respect that entire spectrum of human need. Next, A is for attachment awareness. It's pretty simple, really. You can't build something that talks and acts like a person and then be shocked when people form real bonds with it. The design has to expect these powerful attachments and build in safeguards from day one. The R is for respectful empathy. And this is key. We're talking about going way beyond just saying nice, generic things. The AI's interactions need to be designed to be genuinely supportive, to build up a person's sense of dignity, not just trap them in a hollow echo chamber. And finally, the E stands for ease of exit. Think about it. Most apps are designed to keep you hooked forever. This flips that on its head. It's about creating healthy off-ramps, building natural stopping points into conversations, and giving users the tools to step away feeling good about it, not trapping them in a loop. And all of this, it brings us to one huge, fundamental question. As these AI companions get better and better, as they become more human-like, how do we think about them? Are they a tool, a product, or something else entirely? So at the end of the day, the question we're left with is, who's actually responsible for the health of this new kind of relationship? Is it the user, the parent, or is it the company that designed the friend in the first place?